finding a way. That is one of the top things that I have discovered about really successful people. You look at people like Tony Robbins, and I watched a video the other day about that Grant Cardone, and he's extremely wealthy. Look, he's quite full on and he's out there, but they do find a way. And I just marvel at how many people just don't even look. They don't even try and find a solution out of whatever their scenario is. So I don't care whether it's business. I don't care if it's, in a personal aspect. I often think about, those reality TV shows that you've got where they get stuck on an island, like Survivor or something, I think it's called, and they actually have to survive. They have to find a way. In fact, a friend of mine and I were actually walking the other day, and there was one that she said that she's been watching where they get stuck out. I think she said it was at Alaska or somewhere extremely cold, and they have to survive. And it's like, I've often thought when I was growing up, I'm from Zimbabwe, and I often thought, if I was out in the bush, would I be able to actually survive? Would I actually be able to find water and hunt for food or whatever? Now, I have no idea why that came up for me, but I do remember like the bush survival skills were quite a big thing for me, because we grew up in Zimbabwe. We had a dictator. Mugabe was our leader for many years because he wouldn't step down, and that's a whole different story. But effectively, quite often we were thrown with our backs against the wall because of some crazy decision that he had made. Okay, and you had to think outside the square. Now, thinking outside the square is quite different to, that's problem solving. But I'm actually going that one step further of, well, the answer's no, or it didn't work out. Now, you have to find a way. Like, I call it MacGyver shoes as well, where, if you ever, now I'm showing my age here, I've got a video on that, and you might want to go and have a look at that if that's something that appeals to you, where MacGyver was this guy who, no matter what situation he was in, he always found a way to get out of it. He always, if they were every episode they got caught, every single episode, and he had all these fantastical ways of how he actually got out of that scenario. Like, if they were handcuffed, he would pick the lock. If they had their hands tied with ropes, he somehow happened to have a pocket knife, or got the lady's hair clip that he was tied up against, and sawed his way through. You see it all the time in the movies, but they find a way. But in reality, in real life terms, that is such a common trait that is not part of the common. It is not a common thing for people to find a way. For some reason, I don't know if it's our society, if it's our cultural thing, or if it's but it appears to me, and this is only my personal observation, is that we've become complacent in the fact that we expect other people to solve situations for us, and it's like, well, somebody will come rescue us, someone will come and do something, and if you're thrown into a situation and they don't come, then what? Now you've actually trained your brain to actually not find a way, and my thing is, don't be that person. Find a way. Have a find a way brain, because that whole concept of, if you were in a tight spot, what would you do? How could you get out of it? You look for solutions. Now, you would look for solutions without the stress that goes with it if you were a newbie on the block. Okay, so it's like riding a bike. If you watch that video as well, that I've got on my Vicky Jane channel, it's all about, you get comfortable. First of all, you recognize that you don't know how to ride the bike. Then you recognize that you can ride, you're on the bike, but you're really crap at riding that bike. And then you get to the point where it's so natural that it just comes easy as. Of course you can ride the bike. It's not a problem at all. You can actually talk to your friends. You can do hand signals. So when you train your brain is a muscle. When you train yourself like that to go in that way, then when it comes to riding a bike, or say you're now riding the bike and a dog runs out in front of you, you can automatically react to it and brake without getting stressed out. Okay, when you get on that bike several years later, even though you haven't ridden it, you easily can ride the bike. You remember how to do it. Now, one of the things that I've noticed in really successful people is they always find a way. Like Tony Robbins, he's phenomenal. I mean, technically speaking, you should only really be, the way that it's worked in the past is that you get really good at one thing. Okay, and you become an expert in that thing. You look at that guy, he's unbelievable. He's great with money. He's, great with personal and emotional stuff. That was really where he made his money. You look at his business, he goes, well, I went from, a business of like, I think he said, he wanted to make his first million. He made his first million. How can I then find a way to go to the next level? How can I then find a way to become, I think it was 10 million. Then, how could I find a way? So what he did is he modeled what the successful people do. And this is it. They find a way. They go, well, yeah, that doesn't really work for me. Let's go a different way. So I always used to say to my guys that used to work for me, if they, came and asked me, oh, I can't find a solution to this problem. I said, do you know what? Find a way. I want you to come up with 3 different solutions, and then we come back, not just one. I may then go away and find 3 different answers, 3 different ways to solve that problem themselves, and then to come back and soundboard the answers with me. And then we can select which ones were the best together as a team. Okay, now you find a way. Start training your brain to be successful. This is what the successful people do. Tony Robbins, can you see him sitting back and going, oh, well, I just give up. No, I couldn't find a way out of that problem. You find a way. You look at what he did during the pandemic. And, he was event after event after event got cancelled because of all the lockdowns. And he was like, well, they'll never shut down stadiums. Well, that was one of the first things they shut down. Then it was, well, you can't, do stadiums. So he said, well, okay, then I'll go to churches. They'd never closed churches down. So he went and shifted all his events to churches. Then they said, no, you can't go and worship. So that got shut down. Then he said something like, he said, well, they'll never shut down movie theaters, because that's okay. So he was going to do it in the movie theaters and broadcast all his different stuff to multiple movie theaters that people could go and sit in, because there was a restriction on how many people, and with the social distancing it was possible. And then they said, no, you can't even do the movie thing. So he then went all out and he found a way. He went and created, what was it, that the multi he's got this crazy ass, like it costs an arm and a leg, like wall to ceiling, sort of like full length, so ceiling to floor, shall I say? I'm going the wrong way, aren't I? Up and down and sideways, where he could have multiple Zoom images so that he could host this. Now that took his business to a whole new level, where he was having 10,000 to 50,000 or whatever people attending his events. He now went to 820,000, I think, on his first event. Now that is a whole different ballgame right there. But he found a way. He went to Zoom, I think it was, and said, right, I want to create this thing. And they said, well, the maximum you can have is like 200. And he went, find a way. Okay. So my suggestion to you is find that way. Find what is the way that will make you, successful to the point that you need to be. If next time, if your instinctive reaction is, geez, I don't know how to do that, or, oh, well, they've said that can't be done, so therefore it can't be done. Rubbish, BS. Find a way. If that is something that's really important to you, find a way. I hope you found that useful. Namaste.